as you noted, it's just going to be some growing pains with a new platform. But it does feel like definitely something of note right now that Xbox players likely just enjoying the free trial. Maybe they're just deciding to make the purchase. They've just pulled the trigger on buying this game so that they can actually join one of these free companies. And then of course they're getting kicked out. And as you noted, like for some people, it's not just like, it's not Square Enix's issue, it's Xbox's issue, which means getting a ban may not just affect your Final Fantasy 14 time, it affects everything you do.
Yeah. Oh my
that's kind of a big deal.
I've been outside of that, I've been enjoying the Xbox version though. So somebody was like, "How are you liking it?" And I was like, "I'm working on unlocking achievements." The only downside to the Xbox version is that if let's say I switch to a job, I have to go like at least get some XP registration event so that it's like, oh, you're level 90, and thus here's your achievements that they unlock. And so I end up, having to go and be like, okay, what achievement have I not yet got? Okay, let me go and figure out how to get that to unlock. But I've been having fun getting my gamer score increased after all of this years and time invested into into Final Fantasy 14.
Well, awesome. That was kind of the Final Fantasy news. There really wasn't like a wildly large amount. This week we'll have kind of highs and lows as we build ever closer to Dawn Trail. There will be some weeks where it'll be like, guys, we have 1 hour to get through the news for the week, and we are going to have to go fast. But this week will be pretty light. But I saw Final Fantasy 14 show up in the title of some other articles on ESO, how they were planning to do kind of a remaster very similar to A Realm Reborn. They believed because Final Fantasy had done it, that ESO could do it. And so I've been seeing some articles about some interviews with the upcoming Gold Road hands-on previews. PSU.com, written by Chili, who's here on the show a lot, had an article put out. I read a couple other articles about like things that are upcoming in Bethesda's MMO. And I think that's an interesting kind of transition. Final Fantasy had to do it a long time ago because they just screwed up royally. But we're getting to that point where you're starting to see games who haven't necessarily like just done so much catastrophically wrong at the same time, have issues that when they need to go in and start making system updates or things like that. And there's a couple ways to do that. The first is like Guild Wars, put out a Guild Wars 3, which is rumored to be coming. Or the second is to do what Elder Scrolls is doing. What do you guys think this would look like?
That's a good question, because I have played ESO. Like, for anyone who hasn't tried it and is into housing in 14, I cannot recommend their housing system enough. It is incredible. So I'm actually a bit of a fan of ESO for a lot of different things. I think like they've made so many good pivots. What would it look like? God, I'm not even sure, if I'm honest. But I think that like I like the game as is, so I'm actually kind of hyped to hear this. This is actually news to me. I'm excited, actually.
Well, the other news about it as well is they just announced it's coming to GeForce Now, and they offered me like a key, but I was like, I just don't have the bandwidth to go and check out the latest ESO expansion right now. But that's something that will be interesting, and then for them to kind of do like a reborn version of the game. I think that's where you start looking into crossplay and save and progression, because ESO was like 2007, if I'm not, mistaken, or at least that's when development have been working on it. Obviously, with 10 years, where it probably launched in 2014. So back when they started development to when they released it, like we've seen so much technical changes and as well as expectations with those games. Crossplay ends up being, I think, a really pivotal feature. That a lot of people would really want to see. And even Chili in this interview, if you guys aren't following Moogle Going Around Radio, shout out to Chili over PlayStation Network, I believe. I'm so sorry, Chili, put the name of your publication in chat, and he has 2 articles, one an interview and one going over his time playing the latest expansion. So they already have controller support, they're already on console. I just want, yeah, let's fix that, because I don't want to start over on PC. Like, I have a character that we started and we were playing back on Xbox back in the day. I would like to continue that character if at all possible.
Yeah, that's been a problem with some other games because I also play Warframe and they just solved that issue. Well, maybe not just, it was a few, maybe it was even a year ago, but they used to have this problem where it's like, hey, I have like a PC version. Can I take it to like a different console, like say like the Switch version? And they just got like the cross save feature, and it's such a huge thing. Like I'm usually just on PC, so I don't bump into myself, but just talking to people, it's a huge deterrent.
The first time that I got off of PlayStation and hopped onto my Mac for Final Fantasy and everything was there, like there was an added step that you have to like update your settings to the cloud and then pull them down. Like I just remember being blown away. Just the idea that I could pick up something and go from one platform to another. That was relatively rare, like it's cloud saves and things like that have made a lot of that better. So I know it's hard for older games to kind of make the move to that. It's frustrating when newer games don't just think that far in advance from the get-go. But yeah, I would be interested in giving the game another shot. I tried it back. I've tried a couple of times, but I tried it like when it first came out, and I enjoyed it.